Hi, my name's Hunter. I'm 24 years old. I work as an IT technician. At the beginning of 2019, I was 280 pounds. And as we are now, I think the last time I weighed myself a few days ago, I was 179, like 0.6 pounds. So I've lost over 100 pounds in about a little under 2 years. I hit minus 100 in July, I believe. But the point of this video is I wanted to go over what it took to get me here, in a sense, what the process was for me to learn the things I needed to learn to get to where I'm at. You know, I'm not a sports scientist or anything of that sort, but this stuff isn't rocket science, I guess is what I'm saying. As long as you can do basic research, this sort of transformation is very possible. It's very easy. It's not easy, but I think it's way easier to get started than what most people think. You know, I had my struggles at the beginning, but I think with this information present from the beginning, for some people, it could help them get the ball rolling if they wanted to lose some weight or just wanted to get generally more healthy. For a quick background into my life, I've struggled with my weight for as long as I can remember, really. As far back as second or third grade, I can remember thinking, self-consciously about my weight, having it be something that's just actively, ticking away at me, sort of thing. And throughout the years, growing up and everything, my weight greatly fluctuated. I was overweight probably around 8, 9 sort of age. Slimmed down, I did sports and everything to try to help keep myself at a healthy weight. But I would just fluctuate a bit. But as I moved towards my high school years, I definitely kind of got more control in a sense. I think my activity level was just so much higher that kind of made up for what could be considered a pretty mediocre diet at best. Not a terrible diet, I don't think. It was mostly my mother's cooking and all that stuff. But high school is definitely where it sort of, I hit a nice balance, it felt like, at least for like up until that point. I didn't have as much balance, but high school I found a pretty good balance. I was completely thrown off as soon as I got to my sophomore year because I got injured playing football. I got 2 concussions, had post-concussion syndrome, missed months of school, was put on all kinds of different medicines. One made me drop 30 pounds. One made me gain it back, and like just all kinds of craziness. But after that, after I kind of rehabbed through that and got back to school and got back to being able to do physical activity, I couldn't do contact sports anymore, but I did track and field. So I did running, even though I was mainly a thrower. That helped me gain balance back, and I was doing weightlifting along with throwing. As we go out of high school is where I hit probably the most unhealthy part of my life. Going into college, a lot of people talk about the freshman 40 when you go into your first semester of college. I did that almost double. I did the freshman 70. I almost gained 70 pounds in my first 2 semesters. Almost my first semester even. I think I gained 50 pounds on my first semester at least. Because there's photos of me from graduation, in June of 2015, and then like Christmas time of 2015. And I look like a different person. I stopped working out. I stopped doing any sort of real physical activity. I went from eating meals at home, with my family, to I was living on campus and had a meal plan. I would just eat garbage. And my campus had just a lot of not healthy options. That weight gain happened. I was at 180 at the end of high school. I hit about 250. I stayed around 250 for a while, probably fluctuated a bit. But then after 2016 going 2017, 2018 is when I really it just kept going up until I hit about 280. And in the summer of 2018, I did attempt to lose weight by calorie tracking, and with very minimal physical activity, which I did lose some weight. I cut out soda and everything, and that helped. Until I went on a trip, was like, oh, I can kind of eat whatever I want. And then I immediately put on all the weight again. I had lost probably 20, 30 pounds. I put it all back on by Christmas time. I was 280 again. Going into the new year, I had a bit of a shakeup in my life, and I kind of reevaluated myself in that January time. I came out of a relationship, and I kind of said, what's working, what's not working. First thing, I was like, I should probably lose weight. Not just for the health reasons. I was definitely vain in a sense. I was like, I want to look better. I want to look more attractive. I want to have a more attractive body type. I wanted that positive reinforcement of, looking attractive in a sense. If I was losing weight for the health reasons, I would have done it months ago. But I finally hit that reflection point, and part of what I was thinking was basically, I need to fix all kinds of things. And I just kind of got lucky in my vain sort of thoughts, and I came out healthier due to that. Even though my mindset about it was definitely different at the start. I had that sort of vain thought, but that was enough to get the ball rolling in a sense. I started probably mid-ish January trying to lose weight. So did a bunch of research. Started calorie tracking, started working out again. I was doing cardio originally, but like I mentioned before about my friend who lifted weights, I was like, hey, can you help me build sort of a very basic workout plan? Because I was like, can't just lose a bunch of weight. Because a lot of what I was reading was telling me if I don't lift weights, I'm going to have loose skin. So I was like, don't want that. And, muscles are good and all this stuff. So started lifting 3 days a week, started dieting and everything, dieting. I reduced my calories. I put all my information into MyFitnessPal, and it spit out a calorie amount. I was like, okay, I'm good with that. My first issue I ran into personally was not eating enough. I was supposed to be eating I think it was like 1,700 at the time to lose weight. I was eating maybe 1,000. There was days I wasn't eating, which was not good, which would reflect in the fact that I think in the first 2 months I lost 50 pounds. I remember making like an Instagram post. There was no photo of me. I just had a photo of MyFitnessPal saying I lost 50 pounds. And I was like, it felt very good in my brain at the time. But looking back on it, losing 50 pounds in 2 months is absolutely disgusting. Don't do it. I felt like shit the entire time. But as we progressed past that point, the lifting, I kind of increased my ratio. So my rate. So I went from 3 to 4 days a week, then 5, then 6 as just the months went on. And then I started doing just like a muscle building, power building kind of basic plan I had found online. And I did that for 16 weeks. And slowly and surely during that time period is when my appetite and everything came back a little more I finally started to feel hungry again, and I was making sure I was eating enough, because at one point I was just kind of like accepting that I was like, I'll eat 600 calories today or whatever, because I'm like, I'm going to lose weight if I do that. Well, in the long run, that probably hurt my results, and when it comes to strength / muscle building in any sense. At that time, I was strictly beelining my vision on just losing weight. As we move into the fall and into September time of 2019, I was finally just becoming more comfortable with my body entirely. I had a goal of hitting 80 pounds lost by September 2nd, which is my birthday. I think 80 pounds in 9 months is not, it can be healthy in a sense, because that's about 10 pounds a month, which comes out to like 1.5 pounds per week. So that's like the highest amount of weight I think you want to lose in that time. And I didn't even lose it by September. I lost it by the end of September. Realistically, at this point, I really didn't try to continue to push losing weight. I feel comfortable. I'm fine with where I'm at with my body at this very moment. My relationship with food was at a good point again. It wasn't like I was going to just turn the dial back up and it was going to go full max and I was going to put the weight back on. Felt comfortable eating more food, more calories, letting myself kind of eat worse food in a sense. I just looked at my calories and made sure I was within my, maintenance range, and I was fine. My main thing I wanted to do was stay consistent, working out and everything. And I did that. And I kept at maintenance. I kept getting at least somewhat stronger in the gym and everything. And that's what made me happy. Coming into the next year, so 2020, I really wanted to get stronger. Really, really wanted to get stronger. So I was going to enter a deadlift meet. And so I started doing a powerlifting plan for that. So I started that, I think, at the beginning of February. And as we were going into March, I was like, oh shit, COVID's a thing. About halfway through March, when everything got shut down and all that, I suddenly kind of realized, okay, this competition thing's not going to happen. And I kind of fell out of that plan. And I felt kind of shitty about it because I was like, I put all this effort in and then don't even get to actually try to lift the heavy object. And that had me a little down in the dumps in a sense. But something I noticed when COVID started, I stopped eating out. I bought a lot of groceries, obviously. I started cooking at home a lot. At this point, I did not eat meat anymore. I eat fish. I was doing pescatarian. I was making almost all of my meals because I was working from home, so I had the ability to. And I was probably about 195 pounds at this point. And I lost 5 pounds without even thinking about it. I was like, if I have this much control, and even with the gyms closed, what I did was I put my shitty power rack thing I bought from like Home Depot in my kitchen. I could still work out, I could still lift, and I was eating a lot better, so I just saw some of the weight come off. I was thinking, now that I have this better understanding of nutrition and everything, I want to try to lose weight without tracking, just intuitive eating sort of deal. And that worked really well for me. I went from 190 to I got to 181. Completely intuitive eating after probably about a month. I was never super, obviously I was probably a little bit hungry during that time because I was in a deficit, but I made sure I wasn't starving myself. I just slowly started to hit this point where I was like, okay, I'm going to do calorie tracking again because I want to finish out this goal. So I did the calorie tracking again. I was able to hit under 179. Super happy about that. Made the Instagram post and all that shit about the transformation and all that. And it felt very good. But even at that point, I was like, I'm not done. I was going to try to lose more weight, but it was not work. I stayed in a deficit. I didn't lose any weight and I felt like garbage. If your diet is making you feel like shit, don't continue doing the diet. That's kind of a pretty simple rule most people should follow, I think. I'm not preparing for any kind of bodybuilding meet or powerlifting. I don't have to make weight for anything. I'm just some guy in the middle of a pandemic trying to lose weight and look better in a sense. And so I stopped doing that. But I did keep something I've been doing more and more is trying to increase the variation in my training. And I'm trying to stay at this around maintenance level where I'm still building muscle and just slowly kind of, burning some amount of fat. And then also I have loose skin, even though I did lifting and everything. Loose skin is fine. You can tighten it. You can just by lifting and continuing to, build muscle and just work out. I've noticed it tightening up at least in some way, which I'm mid 20s. So any later in my 20s, then I would probably have ended up with more loose skin that I would have had harder times dealing with. But at this point, I'm very happy with where I'm at physically. I'm still trying. I just like pushing myself. Whenever I do something new, I very much try to optimize it and do it to the best of my ability. I want to be the best at it in a sense, even though I kind of suck at a lot of things. I did this with Super Smash Brothers Melee. I remember at the end of high school just playing Melee for 8 hours a day because I wanted to get really good at it. I wanted to be really technical. I wanted to be the fucking best possible I could. That's kind of what I did with this. In that January when I decided to do this, I didn't really have too much going on. So all I did was watch videos about fitness and work out and cook my meals and work. And like people will say they don't have enough time for working out and everything. When I start like from January, I was working a job at a hospital an hour from here. So I was commuting an hour there, an hour back every day. And I was still finding time to make most, if not all, my meals. And I was able to fit in an hour to an hour and a half workout every day with a 2-hour commute. I didn't have the most of a social life, but I had some amount of a social life still. If it's important, you're going to prioritize it and make it work. You have to make fitness something important to you if you want to see real change, especially if you're that deep like I was, where I was, 100 pounds overweight. Like I knew I was going to have to kind of dig in for the long haul. I think my dedication to it definitely helped speed things up in a sense. And, the depression at the start from everything that had happened definitely helped keep me in line in a sense and keep me motivated. But with that out of the way, I kind of want to end this video with some just general information and general things that I've figured out that I want people who might be trying to do the same thing to know coming into it. Like I've harped on in this video a bit, the absolute number one thing I think is consistency. If you have a plan, as long as the plan is geared correctly and you stick to it, you will see results. Doing a diet or workout plan or anything like that is too much, you're never going to be consistent. Be realistic with yourself and then build a plan that is realistic, or have someone help you build a plan that's realistic. If you don't have anyone that can help you create a plan of sorts, there's a lot of good information on the internet. There's a lot of people who will take questions and give you feedback for free, even on social media. You might not get the most thorough answer, but you'll get something. Something that I've done personally to help myself to eat better is to look for good alternatives to the unhealthy foods that I liked before. I found so many recipes for creating protein cookies and protein ice cream and all that. And while obviously it doesn't satisfy the same itch, it can definitely get you through certain cravings. And I'm not saying you can't have cookies and ice cream, but obviously those foods, generally people kind of overengorge themselves. You can have them as long as you're being realistic with yourself. If you're trying to lose weight, you're not going to be able to eat those foods all the time. On the subject of protein more specifically, if you're having issues with your hunger levels, increasing your protein intake can definitely help with those sort of hunger urges. Protein it's slower to digest, and it will just generally keep you full longer. To finish out on this sort of nutrition bit that I've gone on, I can't stress it enough not to undereat, where you might think it's a good thing that you're eating so little because you're trying to lose weight. I think losing weight too quickly is it's so draining, and it's not healthy. Moving forward, let's kind of get to fitness and just working out in general. Something that I've told a lot of people when it comes to my weight loss that might seem a little shocking. I did not do much cardio at all during this entire period. I have done cardio, but not at any consistent pace or level. Like, I think my longest stint of doing cardio was maybe 2 weeks over the past year and a half. It's just not something I personally enjoy, but I do think cardio is good. It helps work your heart. It generally is something that will make you healthier. Obviously, lifting weights and everything will make you healthier. If you're looking for longevity and being more health conscious, definitely work in cardio along with your lifting. But if you're like me and I generally just don't like cardio, you can just lift and it will still be a positive effect on your health. When it comes to weightlifting and just strength training in general, it's really important to keep progressing and keep pushing yourself to sort of higher weights and higher, peaks in a sense, because if you just keep lifting the same amount of weights for the same amount of reps every week, you're never going to progress. You might still lose weight because you're still burning calories, but you're not going to see any progression when it comes to strength, muscle, etc. You have to keep pushing yourself to get, more results if you want them. Because if you stagnate, that's when a lot of your progress might stagnate. If the gym starts to get boring to you, I highly suggest finding just something to do that is exercise. You can really do anything, and as long as it involves some amount of, movement or lifting or something, it's going to be positive on your health because you're burning calories, you're using energy, you're doing things to just progress yourself. I don't think you have to do a boring program every week of the same lifts and all this. You could switch it up every week if you felt like it. Is that consistent for most people? Probably not. A lot of people like having that same thing to come back to, but some people want to do new things every other day. So if you want to switch up your training, then definitely do it. Just stay consistent with the intensity if you can. When you're lifting weights, I think it's very important to listen to your body and listen to the signs it's giving you. So if you're lifting and you start to feel pain, or you feel like sharp pain when you do a certain lift because you did something wrong, or you're just feeling some dull pain that won't go away and you feel like you might need to take a break, then take a break or go to the doctor if it's bad enough. Injury is very serious and you can do permanent damage to yourself, especially if you're lifting too heavy. I think having a solid base of form going into lifting is the best practice, and then you can start to increase the weight and the reps and everything like that. When it comes to your self-image and everything, you're very likely to look to people on social media or just in your day-to-day lives that either look really good or, maybe they've gone through some sort of transformation and you want to, replicate that, which for a large amount of what you're seeing on the internet is just not realistic. What I mean by this is a lot of the sort of fitness influencers or movie stars that you see, and obviously for many people, this is a very obvious fact, but many of these people are using PEDs or performance enhancing drugs. Disclaimer, I'm not saying everyone who looks good on social media is on steroids. What I'm saying is a large amount of very popular either fitness influencers or movie stars are using PEDs, and they are not telling you they are. They're just either they have lied about it or it is just something that never comes up. There are people who just simply have better genetics than you do, more than likely, unless you are, in this 0.01% of the human population sort of deal. I have not hit my peak in training, but what I can say is I don't believe I have the best genetics in the world. I don't think I could have gotten to the weight I was at if I had better genetics in a sense. But am I going to let that hold me back now? No. I don't think genetics should be in any way an inhibitor to being healthy and pushing yourself. But when it comes to, how muscular you are, where you hold muscle, do you have abs or not? Like, do your abs show easily? Things like that. What do your abs look like? This is all based on genetics. The reason I bring up this whole talk about steroid use, PED use in general, and genetics is because a large amount of fitness influencers use their body as, their marketing tool, obviously, because they're in shape. They're a fitness influencer. That's kind of the whole deal. But when they are selling you a supplement or some kind of fat burner or whatever it may be, and they're saying, this is how I got to where I am, and that person is just obviously on some sort of performance enhancing drug, it's lying. It's false advertising. And I just find that disgusting. And it's abusing the people who don't have the knowledge to know better. And it's abusing people who want to be better, who want to be healthier. And these people are abusing their shallow knowledge of fitness. When it comes to supplements, There are none that are necessary for progress. The fitness industry makes its profit on the uninformed. I mean, hell, I fell for it. I've bought all kinds of supplements and everything, and they're just not needed. I've bought BCAAs, branched chain amino acids, which are found in protein. So if you have a protein supplement, BCAAs are basically useless to you. And I was pounding a protein shake and a BCAA drink after all of my workouts within the 30-minute anabolic window, which is just all bullshit. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I am in no way a sports scientist or a physician or anything of that sort. Just look at the internet. It will give you good information, but make sure to look at multiple sources, obviously, and you'll be able to find out what works and what doesn't. You'll be able to figure out who's selling you snake oil. The last thing I want to see is people falling for the same traps I did. There's nothing too crazy about what we're doing here. It's just simply consistency, good diet, and finding something you enjoy to do and making it a part of your life, making it a priority. If you half-ass it, you might get some results, but you're not going to stick with it. I hope my inherent babbling about all these things was at least helpful in some way or entertaining, or you just gleaned something out of it that you might not have known. While I don't know if I'll make more content that's this strictly fitness related, I do plan on making more videos in the future. There might be some fitness toss in there every so often, but I'm mostly looking to do sort of video essays about video games or media or content creators in general. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe. If you like this video, leave it a like. You can check out my Twitch. I stream every Saturday and Sunday for probably about 3 hours. But yeah, I hope you have a nice day. Goodbye.